Happy Friday, folks, and welcome to another episode of When the Hammer Drops. I'm your host, Leak. Well, like I said on the last episode that I did, there's going to be a part 2 to it. So here's part 2. There's some stuff I left out in part 1, which I'm sure, probably left a lot of people just wondering where was I going with this? Because to be 100% honest with you, my mind with this whole thing and the amount of research I've done, it's going a million miles a minute. I'm not going to lie. But the first thing I want to touch base on today is this. Okay, what's going on in Ukraine right now? All right, so we still got the war that's going on over there. And this is all going to feed into food shortages and all that. So the war started, back in February, March. And by March is when good old President Biden started saying, there's going to be there's going to be food shortages and all this and that. But before I get into that, my question to you is how is it that Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, or whatever the hell his name is, all these Democrats are making their way over to Kiev during a war? Is that really smart? Number one. Number two, how is it that they're there? I just don't understand it. Maybe if you have a better answer for that question, do me a favor. Email me at whenthehammerdrops.com. I'm sorry. That's the website. Email me at whenthehammerdrops@gmail.com. Let me know what your take on this, because I would really like to know why the third highest official in our government is going into a war zone when big bad Russia is just attacking the shit out of Ukraine. But you look at some of the pictures and it blows my mind. So I'm going to just leave that part at that. But another real quick note is, I guess Pelosi is starting to get sick of Biden, according to news reports. For her drunk ass to get annoyed with Biden, Biden must be really messing up. But, hey, like I said, it's not even funny anymore to take jabs at Biden, because we all know that the guy, he's just not competent to do his job. Hell, he's not even doing his job. I'll tell you that right now. But moving forward. So, Biden said in March about all this food shortages that's going to be happening because the grain, Ukraine is like one of the number one leading, the export for them is grains and sunflower oil and stuff like that, and seeds. So, with that being said, Biden, it's like they tell you what's going to happen. Okay, and a lot of people don't seem to understand this. Is when they sat there and said, when Biden sat there and he said that there's going to be food shortages, he's literally telling you what they're going to do. He's giving you the game plan. Okay, now I want you to look at this. As soon as he said that, all over the world, food processing plants are going up in flames. Planes are just falling out of the sky, crashing into these food processing plants, and everything's just burning up. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so. Because if you really look at the ones that have been burnt down, they are like really high in the supply chain. They supply the world. There was one in Ireland that burnt up that supplies a good chunk of Europe and the UK that just went up. In the United States, I believe there are 20 food processing plants that have gone up in flames. Canada has 2, and all of these are very big and huge on the supply chain. Not only that, but then you have companies like Union Pacific that are refusing, because of so-called labor shortages, to haul any more like fertilizer and stuff like that from some of the leading manufacturers in the United States to get to the farmers, to be able to plant, to be able to grow our crops. You see what's going on? I hope you do. I mean, and this is all stuff. Obviously, you're bought and paid for state media here. Fox and NBC, ABC, MSNBC, all of them. They're not going to report this yet because they're saving it. Okay, just like the Roe versus Wade leak, everything happens for a reason. I hope my listeners have started to realize that when something happens, it just doesn't happen by chance. There's no coincidence to it. That leak happened, and I'm going to tell you this right now, come in June, when it's official, you can count on riots, you can count on protests. There's already threats on these justices' lives because of this. I mean, that's ridiculous. I get it, pro-life, my body, my choice, but okay, my question, now here's another question. My body, my choice, well, that should go for the jab too then, right? It's my body, it's my choice. If I don't want the fucking jab, why should I get it? That's kind of how I look at it. You want to be able to give up your baby because it's not a girl, or because it might have Down syndrome or something like that, so you want to just abort the baby instead of giving the baby a chance. Okay, well, fine then. Then you can't tell me to get a shot. Sounds fair, right? So, just with everything that's going on, so Biden gave you the playbook, right? So he's telling you that there's going to be food shortages. It's not going to happen right away, but I would have to say, because we had a good crop season this past year. So, but this year we're not going to have a good crop season because we're not going to have that much stuff planted because we don't have the fertilizer, because now Russia, who's one of their leading exports of fertilizer, they're not going to send that to the United States because, one, we're not going to pay in ruble, and two, well, it's the United States, and, well, with our government officials trying to swing their dick, so to speak, and get involved in stuff that doesn't pertain to us, but it has a bigger picture with this whole, what they are doing with the Great Awakening, it's, and that's why Russia is not going to send it to us. Russia already cut off Germany. I believe I read that they cut off Germany or maybe it might have been Poland, one of the two, from natural gas because they didn't pay in ruble. You don't think they're not going to continue doing that? Pretty soon, all of Europe that depends on Russia for natural gas is going to be really screwed come this winter, this next winter. But, I'm not sitting here saying I'm pro-Putin, because I'm not. I'm not saying I'm pro-Ukraine, because I sure as hell ain't. Because the stuff that I've researched and the stuff that I've seen and know about Ukraine, I can never support them. They're the number one of the most leading spots in all the world for child trafficking, for human trafficking. I mean, they're just as bad. I mean, I won't say they're just as bad as the CCP, because the CCP they're horrible. Like, those motherfuckers will literally come to your house just because you spit the wrong direction, take you, and for torture, they're going to pull out your organs and sell them on the black market. That's what the CCP does. Now, Ukraine hasn't done that yet, but the president of Ukraine did throw the person that ran against him in jail. So, I mean, that's a little fucked up. But, again, what are you going to do? So, you're starting to see what the game plan is here. Then, while everybody's worried about, about Elon Musk buying Twitter, and now it's just said that now that's being held up a little bit because somebody in Florida is challenging that and wanting to sue Twitter and Elon Musk, whatever. But with what's going on with Elon and doing that, it's overshadowing a lot of other things. One major thing that's overshadowing is Bill Gates and his buying of lots of farmland. Jeff Bezos doing the same thing. Again, why are they buying up all this farmland? Well, there's talks about vertical farming. Now, I'm sure a lot of my listeners probably don't know what that is. I'm still researching that, so I'm not going to get too much into vertical farming, but from what I understand, vertical farming would be a great thing because everything obviously grows vertically, and you can have these big farms in cities which can, obviously the sky's the limit at that point if you can farm vertically. So, I mean, it's a great thing, but in the hands of our government officials and those that want to, tweak things, it's a horrible thing, which is what these people want to do. So, I mean, this is just stuff, and I'm telling you, I really, really hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be that far off. Let's mark it right now. This is what, May 6th. So I'm going to call it right now by mid-July, we're going to start seeing the riots and all that stuff because of the Roe v. Wade. Because we are coming up to midterms. Remember that. We got midterms and the Democrats know they're going to lose. So with them knowing they're going to lose, they got to, well, what the hell are we going to do? And here we go. It's their playbook. So we got this. Next, I would have to say by wintertime, that's right around the election time is when we're going to start seeing, less and less stuff in the stores because the food shortages are really going to start taking hold and things are going to start getting crazy then because less people are going to be focused on the election and more people are going to be focused on, well, how am I going to feed my family? And I have to say, folks, I know that it's not an ideal thing and we're in a battle right now with what's going on, but we cannot lose sight on what is important. Yes, food is important, but if we lose sight and give that inch and forget about what they're doing, they're going to pull the wool over our eyes. I mean, hell, they're already pledging $40 more billion or whatever the hell, Nancy Pelosi is promising this money to Ukraine. We're just printing money just to print money. What do you think is going to happen? We've already learned from the pandemic that all that free money that they gave us is inflation now. I mean, where I'm at, it's almost $5 a gallon for gas. I'm sure people in California that are paying upwards of $7, $8 a gallon, so on and so forth. And now natural gas therms are going up. I think since 2021, therms for Northern Illinois, the therm price from Nicor gas has doubled. So now where last year I think we were paying, let me say $70, $80 to use gas, and we don't use that much heat. We usually try to keep it as cool as possible because, that's just, an added expense, and that gets expensive after a while. Well, now it's like, you can keep it as low as you want, and your gas bill is going to be about $300. It's already happened in Chicago with People's Gas. They've already done it. I've known people in Chicago that are paying $400 a month for their house to heat their house. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then they got gas prices $6 plus. It's like, how do they expect us to live? I don't think they really do. They want us to depend on them. And this is all fallen into the great, that whole great awakening or whatever, not the great awakening, the great reset. So with the great reset, they want everybody to depend on the government. So now, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because what I want you to do is pay attention to what you see and what you read on the news and stuff like that, because they're going to tell you the playbook. When they said that, there's going to be chemical weapons used in Ukraine, this and that, or whatever. Well, yeah, they're telling you that eventually that's going to happen. So just, be smart about it. Do the research. There's so many things out there, and which brings me into the next thing. You have, and I'm not going to touch too much on this. I think I'm going to do this one for a different episode so I can really get into it. But, and this falls in the loop with, what's going on. It's, I want you to follow me here. It's like, it's the domino pieces that are going into place. Okay. And the dominoes effect, we're coming up to this next piece, which is, oops, sorry about that. which is going to be, I want you to remember the names BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street Financial. These three companies, mostly BlackRock, pretty much run the country. They own everything. Now, they own the most stake in Tesla. They own the most stake in Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I can keep going here. So, and like I've always said, you got to follow the money. Well, and the reason why I bring up BlackRock is because BlackRock, they have ties with Obama, Biden, and as much as I hate to say it, as much as you don't probably want to hear it, they also have ties with Trump from when the pandemic started, because they turned to BlackRock to help figure out the financial situation that was happening because of the pandemic, and borrowed the Federal Reserve money. You see where I'm going with this? So, I mean, Trump did he do good for the United States? Did he do good for us? Yes. He ran it like a business. Is he a clean, squeaky fellow? No. Not by a long shot. You know, he's not clean. I mean, let's face it. No politician is clean. So, I mean, and I'm not trying to bash on Trump. I'd rather have Trump in office right now than anybody, because I think Trump would do better. I don't think we'd be seeing what we're seeing right now if Trump was in office. I think it would be delayed, but inevitably what's happening was going to happen whether Trump's in office or Biden's in office or, God forbid, Hillary's in office. This was going to happen. So Trump's not the savior. So I mean, what's in motion, unfortunately, there's no stopping it. I don't think. And I truly hope I'm wrong about that. I really hope that, at some point this does stop, because, this has got to be hurting more and more people. I mean, I know for me, I look at the gas prices and it's like, I don't really need to go places. Vacation, screw that. Why am I going to pay X amount of dollars to fill up my car to go on vacation and say I want to go up to Minnesota and it's an 8-hour drive? Now I got to fill up X amount of times to get up there. And, well, now I'm paying, about another $600-700 for a trip. And it's like, well, screw that. I can save that money. And, you see where I'm going? But it's not only with that, because I want you guys to remember this, when gas goes up, so do all the other goods. Because what do you think trucking companies are going to do? Truckers are paying thousands of dollars to fill up their trucks. Now, that's going to equate to higher costs to move the materials, which will equate at higher costs at the store. And then on the back end, it's going to equate also to higher costs to make. So it's just going to keep going up because of this. And, I live in Illinois, okay? And good old Pritzker, his theory of making it easier on us is to freeze the gas tax that he put in place, but not take away the gas tax that doubled, 2 years ago? I mean, you go right over the border to Wisconsin, you literally pay 50 cents less in gas because you're in Wisconsin and they don't have those bullshit taxes like we do here. Our property taxes are going through the roof with costs that, really don't concern half the citizens of the town. I look at it like this. I believe in education, in school. I don't believe in colleges, because I think colleges are just crock of shit. And they want you to spend all this money for these, you got to take your math, you got to take this, and that has nothing to do with what you want to do for a living. So why do you need to take it? It's a scam, in my opinion. But our property tax money goes to this bullshit. Well, let me put it to you like this. I don't have kids that go to school, okay? So, one, if you don't have kids going to school, why the hell should you have to pay taxes to the school for teacher salaries? Now, I know there's going to be some people that are not going to like that. But, I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, I don't have kids that go to the school district. I have no problems paying for taxes on roads and stuff like that, which we pay for through gas taxes and taxes at the stores and all that crap. Why the hell do I need to pay for teachers that don't even want to teach our kids the right way? That want to groom our children. So why the hell should I have to pay for that? Shouldn't have to. Neither should you. And then you got other areas that their taxes are going up as well. And some areas that don't even have schools. And it's like taxes are just doubling, and it's to pay for all this crap that has nothing to do with us. But, I can sit here until I'm blue in the face and, keep going over this. And I know I've kind of jumped off the subject, but I mean, it all, in honesty, ties together, because we're not out of the woods. We're not going to be out of the woods for some time, unfortunately. I would love to be able to say that we would be, but we're not. I mean, let's just be realistic. Biden is basically, let me put it, okay. Now, there's a lot of talk about Biden not being at the White House. Well, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why Biden doesn't go to the White House, because now he doesn't have to disclose who he's talking to, who's coming to his house and all that stuff. That's why he spends a lot of time at his house. And that's why a lot of people go to his house for meetings and stuff like that. Where do you think they had the meeting with all the heads of your local media? Which, by the way, the good old financial company Blackstone owns a good chunk of. So, I'm sorry, not Blackstone, BlackRock. Sorry, there's another Blackstone that's involved with them as well. So, I mean, that's just the research I've been doing. So, you got BlackRock that owns the media. Okay, so if they want to get something through, they can. Now, I mentioned these three companies because it's just the tip of the iceberg. Then you get Big Pharma. Big Pharma, they dictate a lot of shit. But BlackRock also owns probably the most shares of Pfizer, Moderna. You see where I'm going with this? Do the research, folks. If you don't, I don't want you to believe me. Okay? I mean, I don't want to sound like that, but let me rephrase that. I don't expect you to believe me. What I expect you to do is to hop onto Google, type it in, look it up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Look it up for yourself and you'll see everything that I am telling you. Now, I'm going to dive deeper into those companies at a later date. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of companies that they're tied to. And in all honesty, I think they're kind of they're kind of pulling the strings on a lot of shit. Especially with, your Facebook and your social media, because they own a lot of the social media. They own the most stock, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that shit. So they're a big player. And again, keep them in the back of your head. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street Financial, because most people know who Vanguard is because a lot of our 401ks unfortunately go through them. So we're basically funding these companies. If you bank at any bank, you get a loan from a bank, you're essentially funding these companies, and there's no way around it unless you go to online banking or something like that. Then you might be able to get around it, but unfortunately, we're going to continue to fund these companies, and they're not the best companies. I hate to say it like that, but they're not. So now we've covered, with Elon Musk. I want to get onto him real quick in that subject, because it seems like lately and in my opinion, when you start to see people attacking a certain thing and they're all starting to get on the same page, that maybe that there's some truth behind of what's going on. So I would like to believe on what the actions are happening right now and everybody trying to team up against Elon about buying Twitter and what he wants to do with keeping free speech alive, even though he's a socialist, I would like to believe that is true. Because, when you have, your politicians and your celebrities and, your reporters, and they're all on the same page about the same thing, and it's, that has to make you wonder because they're never on the same page. And when everybody's on the same page like this, there has to be some truth. So with that, I would like to say that I honestly, I gotta say that maybe Elon, maybe he's a white coat. Maybe he's definitely wants to keep freedom of speech. And I truly, truly hope that that's what it is. And I'm hoping that it's not a ploy to, undermine Truth Social and just tank that. And then, because that's the biggest rival now, is you got Truth Social, because let's face it, Facebook's kind of dying out. So you got Truth Social, and a lot of people have gone over to Truth Social. So that's the two competitors are going to be Twitter and Truth Social, especially when the elections come. So I really hope that that's not what is trying to happen with, Twitter, and Musk wanting to kill Truth Social. I don't see it happening because now with Truth Social, they're moved over to the servers for Rumble. And I think that's a great thing. So, let's see how this plans out. It seems like the more and more people that are starting to try to attack Elon for what he's trying to do is leading me to believe that Elon is on the side, the good fight, so to speak. So let's, fingers crossed for that. I truly hope that that's what's happening. But I am still concerned about his ties with the CCP. That's never going to change. But, speaking of the CCP, I just got to say one real quick thing off topic. I got to give it up to Sony for basically telling the CCP to shove it up their ass and not changing a damn thing about the Spider-Man movie. Bravo, Sony. I know you're probably not going to hear this, but I think everybody here needs to support Sony for doing that, because the CCP, they try to put their forks in you and just grind you down and make you do things that you don't want to do, and Sony stood up to them. Congratulations, Sony. Got to give you props. So, see, like I told you guys, there's a lot going on, and I know I talk like I want to get out of talking about politics all the time and all that stuff, but let's face it, it's kind of hard to. But there's one thing I also want, back to the Roe versus Wade. Now, I'm not a Christian. All right, I'm a pagan. I'm a Norse pagan. Those are my beliefs. I don't care what any of my listeners believe in. You can believe in God, Hindu, whatever you want. I don't care. Freedom of religion. That's the greatest thing about the U.S., America, is that you have the freedom to choose what religion you want to practice. But my question is why is it the Catholic Church so quiet about this, about abortion and all that stuff? Why are they so quiet on it? They haven't said anything. I thought, Catholics and all that stuff are against abortion. So why haven't they spoken up yet in favor of Roe v. Wade, the potential of it being overturned? And then my other question about Roe v. Wade is, what is going on with Biden and Pelosi? They're all they're saying that because of this, it's gonna be an attack on relationships with, it's essentially like a man and a woman or interracial relationships are going to have problems now because of Roe versus Wade going to be overturned. How does that have anything to do with abortion? It has nothing to do with it. But notice them doing that. They're trying to put that twist on it to take off what's actually happening. So don't be fooled. Okay? Please don't be fooled. And for my Illinois listeners, which I know I have quite a few of. I want you to, this November, you need to get out and vote. And don't fall for this Richard Irving bullshit. The guy has voted Democrat the last 10 elections. The guy is buddy with Pritzker. He sides with Pritzker on a lot of shit. And you have this billionaire just giving him millions of dollars for his election, for all this crap. Okay. So, but you got to trust me on this one. Irving, if you look at Aurora, crime rate's high, just everything. This guy is a horrible mayor, and he's going to be a horrible governor if for some reason he even gets close. But the reason why they're doing this is because they don't want somebody like Bailey getting in office or Rabine to win either. Because those two guys, if either one of those guys got in, I don't care which one it is, honestly, but if either one gets in, they're going to make a change in Illinois. But you can also count on that when the election's over and one of those two win, you can count on the House and Senate of Illinois to basically do the same thing to them that they did to Rauner, and then it's just a snowball effect. They're just going to snowball it, but whatever. You don't want Irving. Irving's a rhino. He does not mean a damn thing he says. And that's just that. The guy, yeah, don't vote for him. And don't forget, when it comes time for elections, and I'm going to go over this again later, it all starts locally. It starts with your judges. Get those judges, especially in McHenry County, that the judges that are letting pedophiles off with lesser time than those who have been arrested for, selling marijuana. They give, if you get arrested for drugs, you get a lot of time. But if you get arrested for being a pedophile, you get a slap on the wrist in 180 days in, county lockup. Because, that's just the way it is. So with that said, just remember voting starts locally. And we need to change it locally and get the disease out. And then eventually, hopefully, it will progress up the ladder to DC. So we got to, just do that. Trust me, focus on that. Don't believe everything that they're telling you in the media, especially mainstream media. Find a secondary media to start looking at. Go on to Telegram. There's lots of information out there that is truthful and biased and will tell you exactly how it is and tell you the truth, and not lie to you like WGN, Fox, NBC, ABC, all those other jokes. So I know I went kind of all over the place today, but I want to thank each and every one of you for listening and subscribing to the podcast. And remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. Rate me, rate the show, share the show. That all helps out. Help get the show out there to more people. And until the next time, folks, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you soon.